Answer this. Did you choke me before the show tonight?
Yes, I did.
Are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Showtime. Showtime.
Hello.
Hello, showtime. 3, 2, 1.
Showtime.
Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des. And as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Lynn.
Okay, I am made of questions right now.
One of my favorite scenes from the movie. And joining us again, the podcaster with a fully packed bong.
I'm the Black Badger.
Okay, so we had 3 listeners write in with questions regarding your snack choice of frosting and peanut butter.
You're going to pay for this.
Okay.
Somehow, some way, you're going to pay for this.
Question number 1 comes from Bob W. of New York. Pat, what brand and flavor of frosting do you prefer?
Hershey's from Betty Crocker.
Hershey's from Betty Crocker. Question number 2 comes from Peter V. of New York. Pat, do you prefer smooth or chunky peanut butter?
Got to be chunky.
Got to be chunky. And the final question number 3, comes from Frank C., also from the New York area. He wants to know, Pat, what is the perfect frosting to peanut butter ratio, and is there a preferred dipping order?
Peanut butter first. It's too thick.
That's what she said.
Less chocolate than peanut butter. Because chocolate is very strong.
Okay. Today we will be
If you
discussing...
could see me right now, I'd be flipping you off. Thank you, New York.
Today we will be discussing the 2016 action comedy Central Intelligence, written by Ike Barinholtz, directed by Ross and Marshall Thurber, starring...
You're off to a great start.
I mean, what is that guy, like a law firm? Marshall Thurber, Ross and All right. Starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Kevin Hart. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. But before we get into it, let's run the trailer.
Spoiler alert. I'm in the CIA.
Are you joking with me right now?
Bottom line, are you in or you out?
Well, then I'm out.
Actually, you're already in.
Then why would you ask me?
Because I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob, and we would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing. Take my gut, we may have to kill some people.
I will do no such thing.
I think you'll like it.
I will not.
I need your skill set to save the entire free world. You ready?
No!
Sweet, let's go.
No, I said no! I expressly remember saying that I was out.
I know, but they think you're in. The smarter play is if we split up.
You know what happens when people split up, Bob? Somebody dies.
I got a plan. Might get us both killed, but if it works, it'll be a totally boss story. Cool?
No, it's not cool.
Cool.
No, I said it's not cool.
You were the coolest kid in high school.
This is like a total transformation. You used to be Fat Robbie.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Dylan, would you like to give us the synopsis?
Absolutely. Bullied as a teen for being overweight, Bob Stone shows up to his high school reunion looking fit and muscular. While there, he finds Calvin Joyner, a fast-talking accountant who misses his glory days as the most popular athlete. Stone is now a lethal CIA agent who needs Calvin's number skills to help him save the compromised U.S. spy satellite system. Together, the former classmate encounters shootouts, espionage, and double crosses while trying to prevent worldwide chaos.
Nice.
Gotta love
right.
chaos.
So, first of all, I would like to go back to the writers that wrote in, and it went over both of your heads. These questions actually came from me.
No, I knew
So,
you made it up.
Question number 1 came from Bob W. of New York. Would either of you like to guess who Bob W. was? It's a
Robbie
fictional
Weirdick?
character. No, that would be Pat. Would you like to guess?
No, I would not.
Okay, that would be one Bob Wiley, played by Bill Murray, who lived in New York in the movie What About Bob? Number 2 came from Peter V. Pat, would you like to guess who Peter V is?
That would be Peter Venkman.
That would be Peter Venkman of Ghostbusters, also from the New York area. And finally, would you guys like to guess who Frank C., also from the New York area, was?
I know, don't know.
This one would come from our Scrooged episode.
Frank Cross.
Frank Cross, give the man a fucking tub of frosting. 2 out of 3 for Pat. All right. Next, the writing on this show is very thin. I'm the writing department. I'm doing what I can here, people.
Karma's a bitch.
Yes. Okay, it is now time for Dez's 4 and 1 fun and fake facts, where I will give you 4 real facts and 1 fake fact. And it will be up to my co-host to decide which fact is total bullshit.
Why do you turn into William Shatner when you do this part?
It's a cheap game show host.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's
Just hope he doesn't do the shoulder roll.
Okay. Fact number 1. When Bob strips naked at the reunion, he has a unicorn band-aid on his right butt cheek. Number 2. The director opted to put Rock's character, Bob, in a fanny pack throughout the movie to reference the fact that The Rock was notorious indeed for wearing a fanny pack in real life throughout the 90s, which led to many gifs. Number 3. The Rock considered entering the State Police Academy after not being drafted in the 1995 NFL Draft. Number 4. This movie was the first joint venture between Warner Brothers and Universal Pictures in over 20 years since the movie Twister. Number 5. The Rock went undrafted in the 1995 NFL Draft, derailing his dreams of being a professional football player. So, Pat, which fact is total bullshit?
Number 1.
Bob thinks that when Bob stripped naked at the reunion, he in fact did not have a unicorn band-aid on his right butt cheek. You are incorrect. You were not paying attention. He did in fact have a unicorn band-aid on his ass. Dylan, which fact do you think is bullshit?
Number 3.
Number 3 is in fact the fake fact. So for 2 weeks in a row, Dylan gets the fact correct, but you will never recover from the first round that we played of this. But congratulations to you. Yes, he in fact did not consider entering the State Police Academy after not being drafted in the 1995 NFL Draft, but he did in fact go undrafted in the 1995 NFL Draft. Okay.
There seems to be some coercion here.
Yeah, I mixed a fake one with a real one. Box office budget and gross. With a budget of $50 million, I'm guessing, which went 25 to The Rock and 25 to Kevin Hart. And a worldwide box office gross of $217 million. This movie was, in fact, a huge success. And that's all I have. So, Dylan, do you have any opening thoughts for Central Intelligence?
I do not have any opening thoughts for this movie. I'm
Pat,
just ready to roll.
Do you have any opening thoughts for Central Intelligence?
Nah.
Okay. You guys are bringing the heat tonight. All right, let's do it.
All right, let's get into this. 20 years ago at Central High School, we see a young Robbie Weirdick, but they call him Weird Dick, showering and singing in the boys' locker room, and quite honestly rocking it to En Vogue, when a group of bullies led by Trevor grabs him and throws him out into a fully packed assembly in the gymnasium, honoring the great Calvin the Golden Jet Joyner. When Calvin sees how upset Robbie is, he gives him his Letterman jacket to cover up. in his essence, he was the only person to not laugh at poor Robbie. And Pat, how did you feel about this opening sequence?
Oh, this was disturbing. Absolutely disturbing. I did, however, like the way they had the adult faces on the teenage bodies.
Yeah, I think it was like that deep fake technology.
It was, I mean, Kevin Hart really didn't obviously look that different, but of course, Robbie did.
Yeah.
But
But it's obviously still his face.
yes, you could see the face. It's like all you saw were the eyes, nose, cheeks, and chin, and everything else was computerized, but it was pretty impressive. But
Yeah,
what they did to him was so disturbing.
Incredibly so. And I mean, unfortunately, things like this do happen to teenage kids, but yeah.
And that's absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw this exact same. I mean, this is a trope. We saw this exact same prank pulled in Trick or Treat
Yep.
against Skippy, if we'll remember correctly,
Mm-hmm.
where the bullies throw him from the shower out into the school assembly and lock the door and take pictures of him with a Polaroid. So this is the second time we'll be revisiting this same cruel prank during our podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. And the more we do high school ones, the more we'll come across it. Like, because you know that happened a bunch of time in the 80s in movies.
Yeah. So that was an actual actor that did the dancing in the shower. I can't remember his name, or he was a dancer or something. And so yeah, he's a great dancer. I thought the dance routine was awesome. I thought he was just like the one Bully says. He's actually a pretty good dancer. And they did de-age Kevin Hart for that opening scene, and they did do a some sort of a special effects thing where they took The Rock's face and they superimposed it onto that actor's body.
Yeah, they call it deep faking.
Deep faked them. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty good.
Another little fun fact is that the high school, that's Central High School, is actually Lynn English High School in Lynn, Massachusetts, and they taped some of this in Lynn.
Oh, no shit.
Yep. So a little local color.
Well, that doesn't surprise me that they were in more than one place in Massachusetts, because when they end up in Boston, just the aerial shots, when you see the bridge and the common, it's like, oh, wow, I remember hearing that this was being filmed, and I never put it together that this was actually the movie.
Yep, they ended up using a lot of Boston stuff between the ending being in Boston, and then they were, like I said, the high school was right in Lynn. So anytime you see an outside shot, that's right in Lynn.
Interesting. I was glad that they didn't de-age Jason Bateman for Trevor. I thought the kid that played Trevor was perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
could have been Jason Bateman. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
And this opening scene too, Golden Jet, go. And I loved the principal. If it was medically possible for me to have a son, I would have liked him to have been just like you. And then Calvin looks at him and goes, I would have loved you to have been my dad, if my mom was into white guys, or whatever he says. I thought this was a pretty good opening scene.
I thought the hero worship for the Jet was a little over the top.
Oh, absolutely. For a 5'4" senior, kid's like freaking 4 feet tall.
I don't remember high school being like that, but that hero worship was just way, way over the top. Everybody loved this guy. His interaction with his girlfriend in the audience, he's going to catch the kiss and put it in his pocket. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I also thought that the hero worship was way over the top in this, but they were trying to set up that, this is why he's so unsatisfied with his life in these upcoming shots. So, Pat, what song did you use to sing in the shower as a young Robbie Weirdick? Moving on.
Please.
Oh, Lord. Back in present day, a disillusioned Calvin Joyner, played by Kevin Hart, is working in his accountant office job and being annoyed by his perverted coworker. He leaves to meet his wife, Maggie, played by Danielle Nicolette, for lunch. There he discloses that he was passed over for a promotion and doesn't want to attend his 20-year high school reunion. Maggie was his high school sweetheart, and she's upset by this and questions his motivations in life. After lunch, Calvin is back at work looking at Facebook when he receives a friend request from Bob Stone. He accepts it just as his phone rings. It's his wife, and she tells him that she wants to go to couples therapy. He reluctantly agrees to meet her at the therapist's office at 6. At this point, Calvin realizes through Bob's messages that Bob Stone is actually the nerd formerly known as Robbie Weirdick, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Calvin agrees to meet Bob for dinner that evening and reschedules the therapist for the following day. So I like it when he clicks on something that Bob has sent him, and it's like... like, oh, me so horny or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the dudes walk by and like, that's inappropriate.
Oh, yeah. And the dickhead friend, the pervert friend's like, seriously, you should be ashamed. Then he looks back and he goes, forward that to me. Yeah.
That guy was such an asshole. I mean, just listening to him trying to be all hip when he's talking to him right at the beginning of the scene when Jet walks away from the copier. And the app he's creating, junk mail. I'm like, whoa, do people like that really exist? Because he couldn't have been more pathetic.
Well, it's
they
funny.
Do exist.
He's actually, this is the exact same character that plays off of, what's his name? It's the movie I Love You, Man. Paul Rudd? Yeah. So Paul Rudd has a coworker in the office that plays, it's the exact same character. They do the exact same. In fact, there's actually a scene where he sends him this email that opens up on Paul Rudd's computer, and he's trying to shut it before his coworkers can see it. I'm like, this is fucking the exact same scene and the exact same character. So again, I'm getting scenes that I've seen in other movies, almost note for note.
That happens, though. I think there's a lot of derivative stuff and stuff that borrows from each other. And if it gets a good laugh, that's usually why, right?
Oh, and I laughed. I laughed.
You laughed both times.
And it could have been a tribute to that scene in particular. Someone in the movie, writers, producer, director might remember that scene being specific like that and said, hey, let's use that. That was a great scene.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah, you make a good point. It could have been a writer from that movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought it was all pretty good. And we're going to find out here that, you know, he was passed up for the promotion that he thought he was going to get. And we're also going to find out that he's very good at his job, which is important because, you know, this is why Bob Stone is searching him out. I mean, obviously there's hero worship and he's, you know, a fucking totally obsessed stalker. And I don't, and I mean, this is not something he's just pretending to get Bob's help. I mean, to get Calvin's help. Bob is literally obsessed with Calvin.
Yes.
Like deep and dark. This is also why the fucking internet and Facebook, I'm not going to go off on a rant, is so fucking twisted though. So there's a reason you lose contact with people throughout time. And before the internet, you would just look back on some of these people and be like, oh man, wonder whatever happened to that person. But that's as far as it went. Now, you know what your first girlfriend's fucking 5-year-old kid had for breakfast. This is way too much information. And I'm sure we've all got that friend request where you're like, ew, no.
He says he's not going to go off on a rant before he goes off on a rant.
Fuck Mark Zuckerberg.
End of rant. Okay.
On we go. After work,
Yes.
Calvin goes to the bar to meet up with his old classmate. Bob has changed quite a bit since high school, as he's now a huge, handsome guy. While having some beers and reminiscing, Calvin and Bob are confronted by 3 assholes, one of them wielding a gun. Bob easily disarms the gun-wielding asshole and beats the bag out of all 3 of them. We learn through exposition that Bob worships Calvin and even rides the same street bike that Calvin rode in high school. And I'm going to pause here because this quote-unquote fight scene is actually pretty hilarious. And I love the waitress that's like, oh, I hope he's Catholic.
Oh, I wrote that down in my notes. It's so great. And obviously, at this point in the movie, are we supposed to be in Boston?
No, I think
Okay,
it's
'cause-
like I think it's like DC.
I think
or
they're still in
something.
Maryland.
All right,
Yeah.
because these 3 guys are like right from the fucking south, you know, the south end. I mean, this is 3 Boston dudes, like the big Rick and like the short guy with the gun. No, you're gonna
Big Rick.
fucking like these are. He's like, you're gonna apologize to Big Rick and go jerk your friend off out in the fucking parking lot. I'm like, these guys are from Lynn, I mean, or wherever, downtown Boston, 100%.
Yeah.
I love when fucking Bob first sees Calvin. He looks at him and he goes, man, you as sexy as Dick. And Calvin goes, you don't look a man in the eyes and say that. Oh, God. And after the fight, he says, you're like a Jason Bourne in jorts.
That was a good one.
There are some really, really funny lines in this movie. I laughed.
There are some very good lines, but
Yeah.
I loved when Big Rick is confronting Jet after Jet tells him not to take the chair. Bro, what's going on, bro? You got a problem, bro? And Kevin Hart's like, is that the last, bro? Can I talk now? And I was like, oh my God, that was so good.
Oh, the whole scene was great. You know, The Rock rolls his eyes back, takes the shot. I don't like bullies, and just goes through these three guys like fucking, or these four guys like hot knife through butter.
I like how Calvin too was like, when you said that line, I was going to say that's not going to work, but then you beat the bag out of them.
Yeah, it was all.
Des and I were working together, and when he told me about that we were going to do this movie, he showed me that scene on the phone,
Yeah,
as like a trailer, and watching him take those four guys out, it was like, yeah, he's had some training.
yeah.
And
Just a little.
I mean, never mind the size, that he's like the size of two guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mean four guys against The Rock? Seriously?
Two of those guys were huge. Two of those guys were fucking
huge. You need more guys. That's all there is to it. You need more guys. Four ain't enough.
No, two of those guys were fucking huge. The one guy in the back was bigger than The Rock. Like the guy that doesn't talk all the way back. Guy was freaking enormous. But I love The Rock. In good conscience, I can't go out in the parking lot and jerk anybody off. Yeah, there's some great scenes. So I thought that whole thing was fucking dynamite. And like Dylan said, I love the waitress. At first, when she comes up, she's like, are you guys on whatever she says, Twitter or something? And Calvin's about to break Snapchat, and Calvin's about to break, about how he's married. She's like, not you.
No, not you.
Oh, God. All right. Let's move on.
So Bob and Calvin leave the bar on Bob's street bike and head back to Central High. While walking the halls of the high school, we can clearly see that Bob's disassociated a little bit with reality, and he relates deeply with 80s movies, much like Des does.
Yes.
When Bob sees his reflection, he still sees himself as the nerdy Robbie when he was in high school. Though Calvin has been considered most likely to succeed as one of the greatest athletes in the school's history, he ended up as an accountant. And Robbie reveals that he's not been naked in front of anyone since the episode in the gym. And then, after some prompting from Robbie, Calvin attempts his golden jet flip and ends up face planting and landing directly on his stomach and face. So. Yes.
You had to know that was gonna happen.
Yeah, because you can't imagine there's a lot of call for doing the golden jet flip in the accounting office.
Surprisingly, there's a lot of call for doing the golden jet flip in this movie. So did you guys notice that in one of the display cabinets, the golden jet's jacket is behind the glass? Now, I didn't know if maybe that was just another Letterman's jacket, like maybe another star athlete from the history of the school, but I did notice the jacket. There was a golden jet jacket. It didn't say golden jet, but it was a Letterman jacket.
Well, then it was a Letterman jacket just from the school, because anyone who got a letter would get that jacket.
Right, but I didn't know if obviously I guess there was another super athlete that went to school there.
Right, or either that or they just have it up as a display.
Yeah, and I love when he hypes up Calvin to do the flip, and he goes, "You go, girl." Fucking, I love the Bob Stone character. He was so fucking twisted. It was great.
I want to say too that it's like, The Rock, he's a good actor.
Great actor.
He's a good actor because what? Like, he is completely believable. Like that, he's this super nerdy kid from high school that just grew into a bunch of muscles and learned how to be a super agent. Like, you don't really quite figure out how he went from point A to point B. But
I don't want to know.
I don't really need to know. I don't really need to know.
It's funny you say that, because as I'm sitting there thinking about and watching the character, just the way Bob acts about how excited he is about this, and he's so into unicorns, and I'm
Corns are the best.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like he's still a kid.
Yes, he talks about Twilight
body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he talks about Twilight.
You know, vampires. Then there's that werewolf. Woo, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, this is a teenager in an adult beast of a body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
it's a
because
very
he had his childhood kind of taken from him. So, you know, he kind of just enjoys those things to this day.
the character has a lot of layers. I mean, even though it's goofy, there's a lot of layers to the character. He's this hurt, destroyed man-child, like you said, it's lost his childhood and trying to relive it as an adult, something that I can completely relate with.
Mm-hmm.
He's also this, badass fucking agent that kicks ass. He's just got a lot of different layers, and I did like that about the character. And you compare The Rock with guys like Van Damme and different people that came from different backgrounds that tried their hand at acting, and The Rock is like a cut way above. Like if you see him in Walking Tall, like that's a
Great
fucking
movie.
dramatic role, and he fucking kills it in that movie.
I
And
could
this is-
rattle off a list of movies that he was great in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is a comedy, so it's completely 180. And then, on top of it, it's like he's believable.
He
You
is.
put like Van Damme and some of those other guys into a movie like this, and he can't do it.
No.
The Rock has this charisma
Mm.
about him that is just very likable.
Yeah.
And every character that he plays in, I mean, I was talking to Des. He did a movie called The Rundown with Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the best characters I've ever seen him play.
Mhm.
It was, I mean, I remember the movie. He also did Doom with
Mhm.
Carl Urban.
I actually liked that, and it's so like it's super cheesy and kind of goofy, and it's very like it's a little silly, but I enjoyed watching it probably because I played the game when I was a kid, but I liked it.
He
Yeah.
also, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember who put it out. It might have been Disney. Excuse me. He played the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah. I saw that as well. And I
I
thought
He was
he was
saw
also
very
in a
good.
Jungle Cruise movie for Disney, I
Oh,
believe.
I really like that too. I thought that's a new movie, and I thought he was very good in that. And I thought it was a very good movie.
Yeah, I got to finish watching. I started and got distracted by something else, and it's still on Disney Plus, which I'm still a part
Oh.
of. So,
You know what the best rock movie is ever?
What?
okay.
Jumanji.
Oh yeah, he's really good
Oh,
at
wow,
Jumanji.
really
So
good.
good at Jumanji.
As silly as it may sound, I don't think I've seen that.
It's
Oh, really?
so
Oh,
good.
it's
Not
really
the Robin Williams movie. The other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that one came after the Robin
Yes.
Williams one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
The
you know
Robin
which other
Williams
one?
one. I'm sorry, honey. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I also really enjoyed him in Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
1 and 2.
I mean, I have not seen a movie that he's not crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the
Fucking
thing: like,
rock.
you take a movie star. Well, not movie star. Like an action hero type guy,
Yeah.
and try to put him into these other roles, and you can't work it out. But he can do it. Like,
Yeah.
if you put The Rock in, I don't know, Gone in 60 Seconds or one of the Fast and Furious movies, like, okay, I can see him being able to do that because it's a tough
Sure.
guy thing,
Wasn't he actually in one of them?
Oh, I'm sure everyone's been in them, but but like
I
it's one of those.
wasn't.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you can take him in this, and you feel for the guy, like when he like disassociates and is thinking back to being laughed at in the locker room or in the gymnasium. Like you feel for the guy, like he actually has that thing,
Yeah.
He can take you there.
The Rock is a taller, more talented, charismatic Vin Diesel. I would rather see him in those Fast and Furious movies. Yeah, you got a guy
you just
like
don't. You say that because you don't like Vin Diesel.
I don't dislike Vin Diesel. I
Oh,
just don't.
shut up! You have told me countless times how you don't like him. I've got a half dozen movies off the top of my head he did that where he was awesome in.
He wasn't awesome in any of those movies.
in-
He
what
was
was-
serviceable.
Pitch Black. He was awesome in Pitch Black.
Yeah, maybe. I guess.
The Chronicles of Riddick,
Yeah.
Riddick, the movie Riddick.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
Yeah, isn't that what
Great
Pitch
too.
Black was from, or is it was it called Riddick? And I'm just calling it Pitch Black.
Pitch Black was the first one. Chronicles of Riddick picked up with that left off. That
Gotcha.
showed you where the three characters that escaped the planet ended up and how it went on. Carl Urban was in that too. Very good movie if you like both of them.
Dude, Vin Diesel plays that same stupid character he played in the first Fast and the Furious movie in every single movie. It's just, he has no depth. He's got no fucking, like, he can just do that one fucking thing. And
you didn't like him in Triple X?
No, I didn't like him in Triple X.
Oh, you're a fool.
The only line he ever delivered that I thought was good was, "You never had your car." All right, thank you. Let's move on.
That's good, because I don't think I saw any of those movies, so it doesn't really matter. But he did play in The Pacifier, which is probably not well known.
Yeah, probably because he was in it. Let's move on.
Oh my goodness.
You're a clown.
I know.
Back at Calvin's house, Bob convinces Calvin to use his personal account to access secret offshore escrow accounts under the ruse that he needs help with payroll. Bob accidentally spills the beer on Calvin's computer, then invites himself to sleep over.
Oh, I love this.
In the morning, Calvin wakes up to find Bob is gone and the FBI is at his door, led by Agent Harris, played by Amy Ryan, who you probably know from The Office.
Yes.
She wants to question his involvement with Bob Stone. They claim he's a rogue CIA agent caught up in international espionage, murder, and stolen intelligence. Calvin returns to his office with the agent to try to set a trap for Bob. You want to say something?
I can't believe I'm having a sleepover at Calvin the Jet Joyner's house. He's in those little tiny PJs that he borrowed, and Calvin's like,
God,
"You can keep those. You can keep those."
That scene just rolled past my TV. I've been I've had it muted, and as we've been going on, it's been playing. And he was this is where he's still the kid.
Yes.
And he's sleeping over his hero's house.
Yes.
How about the quick cleanup? He's literally asleep.
Oh my God, that was so impossible.
The TV's on 16 candles. Calvin goes to answer the door. And when they come back, it's like nobody was ever there.
Oh my God, that was hysterical. And the look on Calvin's face, he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. I loved it. And I love Agent Harris and her two bumbling, sidekicks. She's great in this. She's an ass kicker. It all works. It's really good.
Absolutely. So Calvin returns to his office with the agents to try and set a trap for Bob. Calvin's obnoxious, perverted coworker gets tased by Agent Harris, and I cheered.
Twice.
Oh, yes.
Twice.
Inside Calvin's office, Bob calls while Harris listens on a second line. Bob says he's in the stairway of the building and he needs to meet with Calvin immediately. The CIA scramble for the hallway, but Bob is really hiding right before the door in Calvin's office. Bob admits he is in fact in the CIA and orders an Uber as he sets off the fire sprinklers with Calvin's burning tie, and the two escape by smashing through a window after a huge melee with the CIA agents. They fall many stories in a mail cart onto an inflatable giant gorilla and take off in the pilfered SUV from Uber. Bob explains he's trying to stop a sinister plan led by a road agent called the Black Badger, but Calvin wants nothing to do with it. So the fight scene in the office is fantastic.
This is, you got to go first, because this is just in the top of my head. And if I don't get it out now, I know I'm going to forget it all.
Let me just say, he's got a banana.
Oh my God. This is one of the first scenes when Bob just seems to fucking appear out of nowhere. In the amount of time it took everyone to vacate Calvin's office to run to the stairwell, the next Calvin runs back into his office, and it couldn't have been more than 2 minutes, and nobody sees Bob get in the office and hide behind the door. That was it. Oh my God, I almost peed. I'm like, holy shit, where the hell did he come from?
And he's so huge. It's not like he just snuck in and nobody saw him.
Yeah, right, exactly. You really can't kind of hide behind a post or something.
Well, he was behind the door the whole time.
No, he wasn't, because the door.
Because when they went into the office, I thought that too. The second time I watched it, I thought to myself, no, he had to have been in there. No, the second time I watched it, they went in the office and closed the door. Bob was not there.
Bob has the ring of invisibility, like in the Hobbit. So he just slips that on. You can slip out of living rooms and into offices. Fun fact.
Are you sure it wasn't the Mokhtar Hayes?
It might have been. Possible.
Oh, by Grapthar's hammer.
Okay.
I won't say that line.
I won't.
Oh my God, that's so great. All right. So Calvin wants nothing to do with it, but they end up at an abandoned warehouse, and Bob tells Calvin how he's haunted by the death of his partner, that he was powerless to save him. A man dressed all in black rolls in on a street bike with an Uzi and attacks. Bob is able to knock him off the motorcycle and recognizes him as another agent named Larry. Calvin escapes on that motorcycle. Once free, Calvin calls Maggie, tells her not to go home, but he will meet her at the therapist's office at 6 because he knows that the CIA is watching his house now. CIA rolls up on Calvin in a black van and tells him he either needs to work with them or Maggie's going to pay the price. They tell Calvin that Bob actually killed his partner, and Bob is in fact the Black Badger himself. So Agent Harris paints a very different picture of how Bob's partner died, giving Calvin a device with a button to push that will alert the CIA to their exact location once he's able to make contact with Bob again. She tells Calvin that Bob needs him to complete an auction for the stolen CIA information. She also informs Calvin he cannot tell his wife what's going on. So this is like a great setup, because it's like you're putting Calvin in this position. Does he believe Bob? Does he not? And then, of course, Maggie's in the balance. So, you know.
Yep. So this isn't the scene in the therapist's office, is it?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No, he pulls up to the therapist's office, and that's where the CIA grabs him.
Right. Yeah. So I thought this I thought the scene inside the black SUV was pretty cool because Calvin's trying to apologize to the two other agents, like, hey, no hard feelings, man. He's like, I thought all that was, didn't mean to shoot you. And I thought all that was pretty good.
Sometimes shooting somebody is just a mistake.
Mhm.
Something you might not think that pistol whipping somebody was just a mistake. Kevin Hart, from the beginning of his interactions with Bob and when things started to get exciting, he was just so overwhelmed by everything. It's like he had moments of lucidity through the movie, but for the most part, he was totally overwhelmed and didn't know what the hell he was going to do.
Yeah, over his head quite a bit,
so over his head.
Yeah, and Kevin Hart played it perfectly, and I thought that Kevin Hart and The Rock were very charming together on screen during this movie. There's going to be several scenes where I'm like, just magical. These two play really well together.
Yeah, honestly, if there was another movie with the two of them in it, I'd go see it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, me too.
Just good chemistry.
Just the way they played each other. Go back to the office scene when the CIA catch up to Bob and Calvin, and they've got the big office shootout. Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe you noticed it too, but as the scene comes to an end and Bob and Calvin are circled by all the CIA agents, did anyone see the escape route before it happened?
No,
I didn't.
I've seen way too many movies, I guess. As soon as I saw them circle them and the camera come around and face Bob and Calvin, and you saw the window behind him and no agents behind him, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, he's going out that window.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, that surprised me.
I knew he was going out that window.
Yeah, no, it surprised me. I didn't see it coming.
And then yelling, woohoo, as he jumps out the window and then the song kicks in. Oh, my God. That was just great writing.
Yeah. And, they gave you some good little preludes to all this stuff. Like, in the beginning when Calvin says to his wife at that lunch, I work in an office building with a giant inflated gorilla in front of it.
Oh,
yeah.
So, yeah. So.
Well, one of the things that it struck me is I don't know if anyone remembers the old show Get Smart with Don Adams. It seems like there was a lot of crazy luck. Like when he went out that window, just happens to be the window that's directly above the gorilla.
Nope, I think that Bob had that escape plan routed out right from the beginning. I think he probably had 3 predetermined ways he was going to get out of that building, depending on how the fight went down. So I don't think that is an escape route that he came up with on the fly. He's a very accomplished agent, and he went into that building knowing how he was going to get out. And fun fact, The Rock actually starred in the movie Get Smart.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yes,
With
I actually saw it.
Carell.
Yes, and he wasn't smart.
No.
I can't remember the
He
character's name.
He wasn't Maxwell Smart. He was like Agent whatever.
99. No, that
No.
was
99 is
Barbara.
usually the woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was the one that was always in disguise.
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but
But no, I did see that movie. I had to because the trailer I saw was,
He was 23.
yeah, 23, Agent 23.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nice. You Google that?
Yeah, I did.
So ended.
Well done.
Fastest fingers in the West. All right, let's see. Now, after being released by the CIA, Calvin goes into the what?
Fun fact: we're actually in the Northeast.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, you'd have the fastest fingers in the Northeast.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Oh, wow.
It's called a saying, honey.
I know.
Okay. After being released by the CIA, Calvin goes to the therapist's office to meet his wife, where he finds Bob talking to his wife posing as Dr. Dan. We get an absolutely hilarious scene where between Bob and Calvin, where they're doing like the soul gazing and all this ridiculousness.
Oh, man.
Before Maggie storms out of the office angry. We see that the real Dr. Dan is duct taped to the back of his closet door. Bob lays out the plan to Calvin on how he's going to save the world with Calvin's help. But first, they need to go to the office of Bob's high school bully, Trevor, played by Jason Bateman, who is the only one that can get this transaction number. Once upstairs, Trevor acts like a complete asshole, belittling both Bob and Calvin. Bob reverts back to his nerdy self and is unable to stand up against Trevor. Outside Trevor's building, Calvin reveals that he has given up Bob's position to save Maggie, and the CIA rolls in and arrests a heartbroken Bob.
This is my favorite movie. My favorite scene in the entire movie. Jesus
The one with
Christ.
Trevor?
No, the one with fucking the psychiatrist is this is the best. It's the best in the movie. Go ahead, Pat.
When Calvin walks in and sees Bob and the camera shows and flashes to Bob, I just broke out laughing. I'm like, holy shit, look at this.
And he can't say anything to his wife because he's been told not to. So he has to play along with Bob.
And I got to say, that was a shitload of duct tape.
Oh, yeah. When we find the doctor duct tape to the back of the closet door, it's fucking classic.
God, that was great. I'll get you some water in a minute.
Oh my God. When they're staring into each other's eyes and The Rock keeps smacking Kevin or smacking Calvin, I was laughing. And so there are some
bloopers.
There's some blooper scenes where it shows them shooting that scene. And Kevin Hart keeps smacking him back. And they're laughing, and he'll smack him, then he'll smack him right back again. And it's really funny. So if you have the movie and you're so inclined, check that. Those blooper outtakes.
Those bloopers. That was the best scene. Trying to not laugh after they get slapped.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, it reminded me of the old Cannonball Run movie when they would show the bloopers at the end of those movies.
Yeah. Yep.
I love those movies.
They were like,
me too.
They were like funnier than the movie.
Yeah.
Because honestly, those movies weren't very funny. The bloopers were funny, but the movies were kind of stupid.
Bloopers were funnier than the movie, right? Exactly. But seeing the scene between Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson during the slapping and how they couldn't stop laughing. Kevin Hart would get slapped and he'd just laugh, and then you see both of them back and forth trying to stop laughing, and they'd fist bump. We're professionals. This is what we do.
Oh, dude! And the one scene where The Rock is holding Kevin Hart like a baby.
I'm swaddling you. I know what you're doing.
Oh my God!
That
really
entire scene was just so over the top funny. Yeah,
it was really good. Good stuff. Everything in this movie is really good. It's just a really funny movie with a lot of great action. So, this movie's right up my alley. So next
we're back at CIA headquarters, and Bob is handcuffed to an interrogation table. Agent Harris questions him and tortures him for the codes, while Calvin and two agents watch through one-sided glass. Calvin has a change of heart and helps Bob escape. Bob and Calvin get to a small airfield where they steal a Cessna and fly to the location that the transaction will take place. Bob pretends the plane is going to crash and forces Calvin to reveal that his one regret in life was not having children with Maggie. Bob rights the plane and they land safely. So I'm going to pause here because that was a lot. The scene where they're at the headquarters is another big fight scene, but then the plane airfield with the guy.
Well, just before this happens, right out in front of the building, Calvin confesses to Bob that he did in fact push the button. He says, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah. They were gonna, basically fuck with Maggie. So I had to do it." And and The Rock gives a great performance here. I mean, you feel bad. He looks sad. He looks heartbroken and betrayed,
Yeah.
Oh, the look he threw back at Kevin Hart when he was being walked away was like, oh my God, how good you felt heartbroken.
It's good movie making, though. I mean, it's good movie making. It really was. It was good acting, and it's a pretty tight script. I mean, again, we talked about how there are a few holes where you're like, how do you get out of that living room so fast? But I'm just chalking it up to that this guy is just a fucking master agent.
I'm not watching this movie for the reality.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. No, I agree.
But last week during The Strangers, I was watching that motherfucker I was like, no, that could never happen. That could never happen.
No.
Oh shit. Now you give The Rock a shotgun. Okay.
Oh my God.
And once they, I was very happy that they let Kevin Hart rescue Bob.
Yeah.
And he did it quite well. He saw the banana. And he's and all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, what's he gonna do with the banana?
That was the old banana tailpipe.
Exactly. But it was a brilliant play. The banana was the bait.
So did those two agents get the banana disguise?
It did not appear so.
They should have.
Because one of them
the
got a chair
banana in the
face.
tailpipe.
Right. They fell for the old banana in the fucking tailpipe. When she's breaking Bob's fingers backwards in the interrogation, I was like, wow. I'm like, Agent Harris is a fucking hardcore bitch, huh?
Yeah, she is. She's taking no prisoners.
Now, we're going to get another great scene here that I was in tears watching this the first time I ever saw it.
Me
And
too.
it's when Kevin Hart goes in and is talking to the guy who is renting the airplanes. Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, he's like the airplane security guard or whatever.
He's,
Yeah.
he's the same actor that was in the Eternals.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of stuff. He was in that one with who's the actor from the Guardians of the Galaxy? The big guy.
Oh, Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista.
He
So
was in
he's
Stuber.
Yeah, Stuber. So he's in Stuber with Dave Bautista. And yeah,
I don't believe that's him.
It is him.
Is it? Oh, yeah, right. You're right. It is
Stuber.
him. Okay.
So he comes in with the lunch pail with the igloo, and he's like, "There's a human heart in here, or whatever it is."
Yeah.
And we've got to get this thing to and Stuber knows the whole time that it's his fucking pet snake, his pet fucking boa constrictor.
All right. It's not a heart, it's a dick.
Oh, it is a dick. It is a dick.
I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, did he just say dick?
He did.
Oh God. So this is a perfect example though, because Dave Bautista is kind of falls into that Van Damme like acting level. Like
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast, but he doesn't have great acting chops. I mean, he's just fine. He was fine in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He was fine in Stuber, but he's not bringing any magic to the screen really. And same with Van Damme. Like, a movie that I really enjoy is Time Cop. I can watch Time Cop anytime it's on the TV.
His best movie.
Yeah, I've seen it 500 times. Easy,
But Bloodsport was pretty good as well.
Yes, but it's not great acting. The Rock is a great actor. So that's my point, is that not all of these guys can cross over and do what Dwayne Johnson is doing. you know.
But he and Dave Bautista are two of the more well-known actors who were wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, Batista's fine. He's fine.
He's
He's
serviceable.
just not. Yeah,
I
he's
just don't think
not The
I
Rock.
wouldn't put him in like a leading man in a romance. Like,
No, definitely not.
It just wouldn't work for
No.
me. But you could put The Rock in that.
Yes, and quite honestly, in Time Cop, Van Damme is playing a lead man. I mean, he is playing a romantic.
Oh yeah.
You know,
But that was a very well-written storyline that even though it deals with time travel, they made it believable that it could be possible.
And he was surrounded.
The movie.
And he was surrounded by very good actors. The writing was very, very good in that movie. And the movie itself was shot very well. And the story, as you said, Pat, was told very well. So
it was believable. That's what made it so good. And never mind the fact that his wife, played by Mia Sara, who was absolutely smoking hot.
Oh, unbelievable. And so that movie uplifted his performance. I mean, it was just a good movie. So yeah.
Des, can you tell me the other movie Mia Sara was in that was very
Of course, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
And here I am thinking Legend.
Oh, come on, Bob.
And now, okay, Des, who did she play opposite in Legend?
I never saw Legend.
He's never seen it. Tom Cruise and Tim Curry is the darkness, and it's the best ever.
Yeah,
and I think this might have been one of Tom. Was this before Risky Business?
Legend, maybe.
Yes. Because I think that might be the youngest I'd ever seen him.
No, definitely not. Risky Business was definitely before Legend. Tom Cruise is a kid in Risky Business.
Let's see. Legend. What I'm gonna say Tom Cruise. So it tells me. I'll tell you exactly when it came out. 85. And then Risky Business was 83.
Yeah, I thought so.
Wow. So okay, they were pretty much the same then.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. They both looked as young as they'd possibly been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting way off track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what's new?
Yeah, nothing new, nothing different here.
Yep. I am made of questions.
So good.
That was such a great line.
That line actually gets used on the reg in our house.
Yeah, show me.
That doesn't surprise me.
I love when he says, "Show me," and he opens up the thing, and the snake comes out. I'm like, yeah.
This is my pet, Snake Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal. You know what actor, what crossover dude was just turned out to be fucking unbelievable was Mark Wahlberg. This guy was Marky Mark. He couldn't sing. He couldn't rap. And suddenly we found out he's going to be an actor. And I mean, right out of the gate with that movie Fear that he did.
I was about to say Fear. He was so good in Fear.
So good. And you know what? And he just got better with every single movie.
My favorite is Shooter.
Yeah.
Shooter and Lone Survivor.
Yeah. He's fucking great. And he can do it all, man. And one of my favorite characters he plays is in Daddy's Home 1 and 2. And specifically in 2 when he's playing off of Mel Gibson as his father. Oh, fuck. This is like comedic, like treasure. Daddy's Home 2. One of the funniest movies I have ever seen.
It's weekend movie time and not series for me, so I'm going to have to check that out tomorrow. Maybe tonight.
One of the fun, and and I also will say that is also probably, and this is a big to say big, it's probably my favorite Mel Gibson character, and I love Mel Gibson, the Road Warrior, Riggs. I mean, just endless great characters out of this guy, but for some reason, the character that he plays in Daddy's Home 2 is just, it's Mel Gibson. Okay.
Okay, I think we brought about 15 movies into this one podcast.
I like it.
So now we're in Boston. It's just a half an hour from the meeting. Bob heads downstairs into an underground parking lot garage to do the exchange and tells Kevin to sit tight. But if there's any trouble, to call him on the encrypted phone that he's been given. In the parking garage, Bob meets up with a large group of heavily armed men. A nervous Calvin sees Agent Harris arrive and her team and she pulls up and she heads down to the garage herself. Calvin thinks Harris is actually the Black Badger and tries to call Bob. He gets his voicemail and decides he's going down to the garage to warn him. Calvin interrupts the meeting between Bob and the gang of terrorists. Bob tells the terrorists that Calvin is his partner before shooting Calvin, presumably killing him. There's like a splash of blood on the door, and it all plays pretty well. Phil, played by Aaron Paul, Bob's supposedly dead partner, emerges from the darkness and states that he is actually the Black Badger and that he also has the real codes. Calvin witnesses this because he's not dead. He only got clipped, and he realizes that Bob barely nicked him with the bullet. Bob tells Phil when this whole thing is over, he's going to kill him by ripping his throat out like Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Just then, the CIA busts in and a gunfight ensues. Calvin sees the 2 flash drives on the ground, runs out and grabs them both. He's escaping, but he still thinks Bob tried to kill him. Back above ground, Bob and Phil end up on a footbridge in a tense standoff. They're both trying to convince Calvin to give them the flash drive because they're actually, each one is saying, I'm the good guy. After a quick shootout, Bob and Phil fight on the bridge while Calvin holds them both at gunpoint. Calvin accidentally shoots Bob in the ass, giving Phil the upper hand. Calvin tells Phil that he doesn't trust him either, but he's out of bullets. Phil admits to being the Black Badger and to setting up Bob by staging his own death. Seeing no other option, Calvin tries to throw the golden jet flip. He's once again unsuccessful, but it distracts Phil long enough for Bob to tear his throat out and push him off the bridge.
I love when he's trying to help up Calvin. He's still got the guy's throat in his hand. So this movie, it's funny. This movie is very, very similar to a movie called The In-Laws with Michael Douglas and Albert Brooks, where Michael Douglas is the CIA agent and Albert Brooks is playing the father. So Michael Douglas's son is going to marry Albert Brooks's daughter. And same thing. The CIA gets involved. They're telling Albert Brooks, you got to work with us. Michael Douglas is rogue. Michael Douglas is like got this, nuclear submarine that he's auctioning, blah, blah. It's the same fucking plot. And I enjoyed it there and I enjoyed it here. And me and Pat were talking earlier about this. At this point, Lynn, who did you suspect was the Black Badger at this point?
I thought Agent Harris was.
I thought Agent Harris was as well. Pat?
Well, see, Agent Harris is the first. When you first think of who they put this together, they're thinking about it, they're talking about it. Harris is the first name that comes up as to who is framing Bob.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense. Everything that would make you suspect her was where it needs to be. So your first thought, okay, Harris is the Black Badger.
Mm-hmm.
But then as Bob and the Jet separate, Bob's going to go down to the parking lot. Jet's not having that. He ain't happy about that. He's got no gun. He's got no bulletproof vest. And Bob convinces him everything's going to be fine. And as Bob walks away, walking towards camera, he throws a look that makes you think, well, wait a minute. Now maybe Bob is the Black Badger.
Yes, it was definitely, it's him putting his game face on, but it's done to make you think.
Oh, they
100%
they wrote
misdirect.
it so well because right up until Bob got knocked out and Phil admitted to being the Black Badger, right up until that point, it could have been anyone.
I'm glad you said that because even after Phil says downstairs in front of the mob, I'm the Black Badger, I still wasn't sure who was the Black Badger.
Right.
Because he could have been saying that as the agent to get the encrypted key.
Well, that's just like he sold the story to Calvin on the bridge in the Boston Common.
Right.
He said Harris had him go dark so he could flush out Bob.
So
that is completely believable. You're dealing with the CIA.
Yeah, I was also a little disappointed that he had both his ears because that was all that was supposedly left of him. I figured he tore an ear off in order to make the thing happen,
Okay, that's dark.
Like, well, think about it. They show a picture and all that's left of him is his ear.
That's really dark.
Well, that goes...
Are you telling me that the CIA didn't test that to make sure it was his?
I thought we said we weren't going to ask questions on this.
Oh, okay, well, please.
So listen. So last week when we're doing the Strangers with Tony, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. That isn't real. Could never happen. Here I'm like, will you stop? CIA wouldn't test that ear. CIA wouldn't. Maybe they would. We don't need to ask that question.
The CIA is listening to this right now.
Damn
but
it,
that
we forgot
actually,
to test the ear.
that reminds me of that movie. What was it, Pat? Metro with Eddie Murphy, where the guy brings the ear to the door and gives it to Eddie Murphy, the ear wrapped up from the hostage.
Yes.
Yeah, really, but amazing. If you guys like Eddie Murphy, this is a movie nobody's ever seen. It's Eddie Murphy and who's the guy from The Crow, honey? The
bad guy?
The lead bad guy.
Michael Wincott.
So Michael
Yes.
Wincott
He was
plays
also
opposite.
he was also in The Three Musketeers with
Yes.
Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes.
What's the kid from Batman? Jesus, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, what's his face there?
O'Connell or something like that.
No. Oh crap! Hold on, I'll look it up.
He's
Carry on.
NCIS LA.
Yeah.
Regardless, Michael
Carry on.
Wincott.
Yes. Okay, now we're up to 20 movies.
Oh, Chris
Michael
O'Donnell. Chris
Wincott.
O'Donnell.
Michael
Chris
Wincott
O'Donnell.
plays such an unbelievably great bad guy in Metro. Like he is fucking if you like Michael Wincott, this is some really good Michael Wincott. And Eddie Murphy pulls off a performance. Honestly, I did not think he was capable of. Eddie Murphy almost always plays Eddie Murphy for me in every movie. This is the first time I'd watched an Eddie Murphy movie. Second time I'd watched an Eddie Murphy movie, and I actually lost myself in the character where I, for a moment, just forgot I was watching Eddie Murphy. Could have been the
But
character.
you do get a glimpse of him at the end.
Yes.
We're on the beach talking about wearing a thong.
We get a little of him there. In my opinion, Eddie Murphy's best performance, and I've said it before on this podcast, is Holy Man. If you've never seen Holy Man, see it. He plays opposite of Jeff Goldblum. Goldblum is great in this movie. It's a great movie.
I still
I
got
would
to
just
add
like to
Golden
say-
Child to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would also like to say, since we brought up Three Musketeers, Tim Curry was in that too, and he was awesome in that.
Yes, he was.
Tim Curry's just awesome.
Tim Curry's the man. I don't care.
Yeah, just great.
It was a
Regardless.
remarkable cast.
Yes,
from,
it was.
from top to bottom.
Yes, it
And
was.
I can't remember Tom Sizemore, who played
Oliver Platt.
Oliver Platt. I know. Some reason I get those names mixed up. He was. The whole cast. I enjoyed watching that movie because every character was so unique,
Right. Absolutely.
We could probably give 25 rewatch scores tonight.
Again,
Well,
like I said,
nothing
we're
else,
up
we
to
can add a
25
couple-
movies we've pulled into this.
I could
They
say
got-
we could add a couple movies to our list of things that we want to review.
Oh my God, the listeners
Absolutely.
got their bang for their buck today, man. Jesus, we broke down 20 different movies. Oh shit. All right, let's keep going.
So Bob and Calvin turn the encryption codes over to Agent Harris before taking a black helicopter to the school reunion. Calvin finally tells Maggie what's been going on. They go inside to the dance where Bob knocks out Trevor, then gets on stage, strips naked, before reuniting with his high school love, Darla McGuckian, played by
Nice.
Lisa McCarthy.
Oh,
Nice,
when I
loved
saw her show up, I was like, holy shit, look who's here.
It was
Soon
great.
after, Calvin is getting ready to go to work. So this is a couple months later because Maggie is pregnant. So it's not the next day or anything like that.
Right.
He walks out the front door and we see Bob leaning against a red truck, much like Jake in 16 Candles was leaning against his red Porsche waiting for Molly Ringwald. Bob gives Calvin his high school Letterman jacket back and they jump into the red truck and speed off to start their new relationship as CIA partners. The end.
Oh God. First of all, I'd like to say I wrote tonight's script. And I thought it was.
Sort of.
It sounded very familiar to me.
I had to do a lot of adjusting.
I don't even think
boy,
you would have.
really?
There's
Wow,
no
I'm
way.
shocked.
There's no way you would have come up with Jake Ryan. For-
Yeah, please.
No.
Just because I used that line doesn't mean I didn't have to rewrite not 80% of this.
80%, dude. That script sounded like 80% of what I put
Shall
down.
I open up your script and start reading yours? Because I still have it.
No. So
Good answer.
I absolutely love. They've got The Rock, in the exact same sweater that Jake Ryan is wearing at the end of 16 Candles.
Mhm.
Same sweater.
Oh,
I don't know,
I never made that connection. I never saw the movie.
dude. How the fuck did you ever? Are you an alien? How did you not? Have you been living in this country your whole life? It's fucking 16 Candles.
It's
It
a
comes with
rom-com.
birth.
It's a
No, you're-
rom-com. I
Dude,
don't do them. Get over it.
You're born seeing 16 Candles.
Get over it.
Okay. I love when he and I loved it, Calvin, because he's seen 16 Candles like everybody else. He looks at The Rock and says, me?
Me.
And then The
yeah.
Rock looks back and says, yeah, you.
The call back to the same scene that you saw when he was on the sleepover at
Yep.
Calvin's house.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so good.
That was
and
a great callback.
And I love when Calvin says to The Rock, how do I look? He goes, you look great, Jet. You look like a young white Will Smith or a young black Will Smith.
And he goes, I don't know if that's racist.
He goes, I don't know if that's racist, but I'll take it.
That's the second great reference to Calvin's size. The
Yes.
first one was a snack-sized Denzel.
A snack-sized Denzel. That's so awesome. So we get a black Will Smith and a snack-sized Denzel. Some of the lines in this were really funny.
Written.
Yeah, I was laughing out loud. And so we're going to finally see the Golden Jet jacket again resurface.
Mhm.
And he gives it back to him. And he says, I sleep in it most nights.
But it's clean now.
But I had it cleaned. I also really loved when Calvin says to Agent Harris, if I did want to get into this line of work, how would I get in touch with you? And she says, just pick up any phone in your house.
That was awesome. That was awesome. And as we go forward, I'm sure we're all going to look forward to the scene when Bob meets Trevor in the dance.
Yeah.
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 Oh, watching Bob take him out with one shot was as satisfying as watching Calvin's perverted partner get tased not once but twice.
Yeah.
It was even more satisfying because I actually
Absolutely.
I like that character. I'd hang out with that guy, the pervert guy. Me and him we'd be buddies in the office, me and that guy.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
That's really disappointing.
Oh, out of all the characters in this movie, which one would you say most represents me? It's the guy in the office.
I'm not married to that.
Oh, you are, though. Oh, come on. You walk around this house on a regular basis going, like commenting on the stupid shit that I say on like a fucking minute-to-minute basis.
I mean, that is true.
Yeah, but that's warranted.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's true,
God.
though. It's true.
Yeah,
I mean,
fun
I'm
fact.
not there, but Jesus, I know the both of you well enough to know that, dude, if you're getting choked, you deserve it.
So I came to work the other day. I told Pat, I said, Dylan choked me this morning in the kitchen. I mean, she was really choking me. Like and I was going like this. As she was choking me and shaking my fucking head like a chicken, I was going, it was the Dukes. It was the Dukes.
Oh my God.
I mean, you can't say that if I'm actually choking you. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't a real choke.
It was a real choke, but I mean, you're like 5'4" with fucking tiny little hands. So I
Oh,
mean,
God. You're going to
you
get
know,
the police out here. I'm going to be in
Still,
trouble. People are
his
going to hate
res-
my guts. You're going to have to remove this.
His response was
I'm an abuser.
perfect.
it was the Dukes. It was the
Oh.
Dukes.
When he told me that, Lynn, I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, oh my God, that's hysterical.
People are going to listen
Um,
to this and think I'm a terrible person.
Oh,
That you don't push me into this with
Yes, but everybody
repeated
that knows
ridiculousness for like hours before I finally snap.
answer this. Did you choke me before the show tonight?
Yes, I did.
Well, there you go. I'm choked on a regular. In fact, this week I was slapped and choked at least 3 or 4 times.
Okay. We can't let this go out publicly, honey. This will be the end of the podcast.
Oh,
What
really?
are you talking about? No,
This would be
you're
the end of
worried
the
about
podcast.
something being
Yes.
public?
Yes.
no.
Yes,
It's
I
fine.
am.
Gee, I can't imagine how that might feel.
So everybody knows I am a
No.
martial artist.
No, God.
I can handle myself, more than capable, and I enjoy my wife slapping and choking me, and I actually egg her into it. It's almost like flirting on the playground, like I'm pulling her ponytails. So don't feel bad for me. If I wanted to, I could choke her out.
Dude, I don't
Okay.
think anybody feels bad for you. Trust me.
Oh,
You know what's
God.
funny? I actually not sure I could because she got me down the other day, and I was unable to get up. I mean, seriously, she had me pinned. Okay. All right. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So anyway, they jump in the red truck and they peel out sideways. End of movie. Great flick.
No mention of the scene when he strips naked.
I mean, he
I mean, I
strips
said
naked.
it. Yeah.
He said it. I think we got it.
Okay.
Okay. Pat, let's get your rewatch score on Central Intelligence.
Honestly, I give it a 5.
A 5 from Pat. Delyn, what is your rewatch score?
I'm giving it a 4.
A 4. And I also am going to give it a 5 because you know what? There's just nothing I didn't like about this movie. I loved all the references to the 80s movies. I just loved everything about it. I thought it was charming. I thought the acting was great. I thought the storytelling was tight. It was a good action espionage movie wrapped up in a rom-com, wrapped up in a comedy. It's everything I love in a movie. It's a 5.
The only thing I didn't like was the humiliation of Robbie, but that scene was necessary to build the character.
Yeah.
I liked it because it showed why he was who he was. And it made that final knockout so satisfying.
Well, especially after he cowered in the office and all he saw was himself as a teenager.
Yeah.
To see him overcome that and take Trevor out with one cross was awesome.
It was. So it all worked for me. I had no problem with any of it. And it was a perfect movie for me. I loved it. So with Pat's 5, Delyn's 4, and my 5, Central Intelligence, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it legit today. I'm not going to give it a 5, even though I want to. We're going to give it a 4.75 just because Delyn has no taste in movies.
You have an eye for fashion.
I have one more movie to throw into the mix that we've pulled into this.
Go ahead.
Another rock classic, San Andreas.
Oh, so good.
What about Skyscraper?
Loved Skyscraper. He plays the one-legged dude. So good.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So good. Yeah.
This is why we do these things. Because we between the three of us, we've probably figured out every movie every actor's been in that we like.
I really liked Skyscraper. I forgot about that one. That is a badass movie.
And I really enjoyed San Andreas. The cinematography in that movie was remarkable.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. All right. So I would like to thank Delyn because I love watching movies from different rooms, then being choked out, and then doing the show with you. Pat, brought it like always. It was a very good podcast. Thank you for joining us. I would
What the
also
hell's
like
my frosting?
I'm sure you've got it in front of you. I would like to thank the listeners who come and listen to the show. And next week, we will be back when we will be doing the first edition of Movies That Rock. Movies That Rock. That wasn't good. I was trying to do my Paul Stanley.
I'll
work on the Paul Stanley.
Although,
Don't hurt yourself, dude. You're going to hurt yourself.
We should also honorarily induct Trick or Treat and The Crow into the Movies That Rock Hall of Fame because they are. They would if we had done that from the beginning, they would have belonged. So
so this will be our third installment of Movies That Rock and Roll.
Oh, God.
This is why you write songs.
This is Paul Stanley. Okay.
No.
Not even close.
We'll be back with Tony for that one. Because not only is Tony the resident horror buff, but he is also a rock and roller in his own right. And this
still
movie,
like you?
Yes, he does. Even though I was a total jack wagon on The Strangers.
Yes, you were.
And this one was actually requested by Rich Cambarello, a rock and roller in his own right. And we'll be doing that next week. And
also, Rich is owner and proprietor of Bone Daddy's Burgers. Look for the truck in Boston and go eat an awesome burger.
Yeah, he is a wizard with these different burgers he makes. He makes all sorts of different like
He does like
artisan
rock and roll
burgers.
burgers.
Yeah.
He's got like a Lemmy and all sorts of stuff like that.
Correct. It's all rock and roll. The truck is awesome. It looks like what, like a fighter plane or something?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all awesome. So I'm sure you can, if you was to Google, what is it called again, honey?
I believe it's Bone Daddy's Burgers. I'll just double check it. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, Bone Daddy's Burger Truck.
Okay, yeah. So Google Bone Daddy's Burger Truck if you're in the Boston area or you live in Boston and you want to have something really special. You can find out where he's going to be. Go down and have a burger or whatever else he's serving up at the time, and you will not be disappointed. And he's a cool dude. So you just tell him that you got his recommendation from the show, and he'll feed you for free. That's a lie.
Oh, that's not good.
Fun fact, that's a lie. He's not giving you free food. And in fact, if you tell him that you know me, you may actually pay extra.
Either that or spit in your burger, maybe.
Yes, because
you may not want to eat the food if he knows you know him.
Yeah, so we actually played in a band together for, I believe, one rehearsal. It was a very cool band, though. Okay. So that's it. So thanks, everybody. And until next time, let me ask you one question. Pat, don't fuck this up. Go.
Hey, have you ever seen that movie?
Nice job. All right, guys. Till next time. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you guys ready? That's not a lot of hype. Are you ready now?
Yeah. Now you know I am.
Okay.
You jackass.
Fun fact, the wind choked me.
Well, fun fact, you deserved it.
Okay.
Fun fact, I'm not surprised.
McGuckian, let's go.
Oh, God.
Did she just call her McGuckian?
Yes. Fun fact, the dog is a boy.
Yeah.